12-year-old, welcome back to the Eyes of Sci-Tech.
Just as a small refresher, we are 12-year-old innovators who are working on sharing their knowledge with you guys.
It's Kavya here.
And Just Breathe.
Two Sci-Tech students who are very passionate about the deep projects and methods we learn every single day and open to sharing the knowledge.
So let's get straight to it.
First things first, we're going to be talking about lenses. There are three different types of lenses: social, cultural, and economical. Let's start off with the cultural lens. The cultural lens is exactly what it seems. It's culture. It is common beliefs and values as a member of a larger group of people. For example, if your whole school believed that cupcakes were better than cookies, this is an example of a cultural lens because your whole school believes the same thing, and you're a large group of people because a school is a large group of people. Next, we have the social lens. The social lens is close, immediate contacts, aka friends or family, that you make direct contact with daily. For example, if your family chose to go on an exploration in the wilderness because you all believed it would be a good family vacation, this is an example of a social lens because its common beliefs and values is a smaller group of people which are direct contacts. Lastly, there is the economical lens. This is bartering or trading for goods or service, which returns in profit or loss. An example of this would be Charles had to pay a fine of $200 for stealing the vase. It is related to stealing for goods in order to have profit from it. However, Charles was caught and it resulted in a loss of $200, therefore subtracting the original one. Now that we have explained the basic lenses, it's time to get on with the project for today's video. The name of this project is Communities in Canada, and for us it was a unit project, meaning it was something we worked on for a long period of time. In this project, you will be exploring major events from Canada's history which had an important role in today's event. This project is a mix of writing, social studies, and drama combined to make a very fun project and learning experience. This assignment requires you to plan and create your own dramatic representation of two distinct historical and/or contemporary perspectives related to an important event in Canadian history. The topic selection must be a major historical Canadian event, as well as identification of the two Canadians which have opposing perspectives, which means they disagree with each other. An example of this would be, let's say you and your sibling got into a fight. They believed that they should get a cake for their birthday, but you believe that they shouldn't get a cake. This is opposing because they have the opposite perspective related to the same event.
Next, we have the outlines. To start off the first outline, we always have to remember the criteria within an outline. Now, we'll be posting the criteria in the description below. One of the criteria in an outline is always to have supporting and sub-supporting details in the range of 7 to 8 words, and always to have relevant information according to your topic statement. Now, at the end of the day, if you don't want your outline or information to be copyrighted, always remember to put Mla Citations. And in your outlines for our project, we had to look at 3 different lenses: economic, social, and cultural lenses. In part of our information, putting it in the supporting and sub-supporting detail, in brackets we put whether it was a social, cultural, or economic lens. These criteria will help you follow throughout your project. And now this criteria will be put into your 2 or more outlines that will be coming ahead. Before starting the master outline, it is always efficient to create a graphic organizer which could tell you about all the information from each outline and combine it all together. Now your headings could be about your topic or lenses. In your graphic organizer, there should always be one middle topic statement which everything is connected to. In your master outline, you should always have information that are right connected to your middle topic statement. From the order of your master outline and all the information being exactly where it's supposed to be under what heading and what topic, it could help you build your script later on.
After having completed the first 3 outlines, the master outline, the graphic organizer, and gotten feedback from your teachers, peers, and friends to get it approved, next comes the very fun part which gets your creative juices flowing. And in my opinion, it's the second most fun part of this unit project. The script. In the script, you're going to be planning on what to say in the actual performance, where you act out the two opposing perspectives in this event that you chose from Canada's history. You start off the script by writing the characters you'll be portraying, aka the cast, as well as the outfits you plan on wearing, the settings, and the props you plan on using if you plan on using props. I recommend using props because they enhance the quality of the overall presentation. However, they aren't mandatory because a presentation can be just as good as it is with props without props. Then you would write the introduction, where you explain the characters and the plot, and you give a brief description of what you plan on representing and what this event was in general. This is a good idea to get the audience engaged and intrigued as to what is going to happen next in your performance. It's very important to make sure your introduction is eye-catching. Eye-catching, not really eye-catching, but more voice-catching, because it should get people's attention. That's why you should go with a series of different writing elements and make it creative. Then you write headers describing each scene, and you identify the people by letters. For example, if Albert Einstein was one of the people you were portraying, you would write his name as AE, and then in brackets you would put Albert Einstein. In the headers, you can also explain what the setting is. For example, if you're doing a court scene, you could write Scene 1, Act 1, the court is in session. Characters, AB, Albert Einstein, TJ, Thomas Jefferson, like that, for example. Then you would continue to write lines of what you plan on saying from each scene for exactly what you want to say while explaining this project and the dramatic representation. In a script, it's always important to make sure you're writing from that character's point of view and not your sole point of view. So you wouldn't say AE equals Albert Einstein then says this or that. You would say AE. For example, if Albert Einstein was talking about math, you would say AE. The rule of quantum physics is so and so. So you would say it like that from their perspective because you're going to be acting it out as them. Another good idea to use in the actual performance in the script is planning out where you're going to put your props and settings. So as you are writing in the headers, you can also include the props if that scene is going to have the props. Then Jasper is going to talk about the presentation.
From my experience of doing this presentation, I recommend you memorizing your script because it's more efficient and you will be evaluated upon you looking at your script once and twice, or you looking at the audience and making eye contact. Another tip for your presentation is always being enthusiastic. Now, during our presentations, it's an easier way to engage your audience, and it's also an easier way of getting good evaluated marks according to how you are presenting to your audience. When presenting, you should always remember to communicate your feelings and thoughts to your target audience. Now, you could always use visual, audio, and other technical aids to strengthen or impact your viewers' thoughts. Now, for example, you could maybe use a projector to project a imagery or show or a type of example of what you are trying to say. In this, you could use filters to create unusual effects with background lighting, or use music to suggest a mood, or you could use masks and makeups to highlight a specific character that you are trying to represent, or a specific character. Part of your presentation, you should always remember to add a soliloquy where you can step out of your character's trait, and you could use this to justify whether not you or personally agree to what is happening with a specific point of being that character. Now, you should also be dramatically presenting as you act in the role, so related to a historical or contemporary experience. And when you're talking about your soliloquy, you should always talk about the two distinct Canadians associated with an important event in the Canadian history and how you feel about what they did or what they did not and should have. And lastly, evaluate evidence and justify conclusions drawn about perspectives of the historical and or contemporary event in the Canadian history. So this is technically talking about the soliloquy and what you should add during your presentation.
And that's the end of the project. For further inspiration, me and Jasper have included our projects and our performance videos in the description for you to have a model of how the final project should look and how the dramatic representation acting actually works. In case you were wondering, me and Jasper did very different projects. For my topic, I chose a terrorist bombing attack which happened in the 1900s in Canada, and it completely changed the way that Canada's airport security is today. Jasper chose a more recent event from 2019, which was the Trans Mountain Pipeline project. But as you can see, the topic can vary amongst anything as long as it's a historical event, a major event in Canada's history. It can't just be any event. It has to have some sort of impact on today's world, or it had to have some sort of impact when it happened. Thanks for watching. Bye!